This is really not good. I slept here last night. It was Sunday, so nothing was open.
Damn, I can't believe you live out here.
And trying to get authorization for a warranty repair. But if it's not and it's something else, then it's on me. Like, I'm really grateful that my engine didn't seize before I got here.
Right.
What we're going to need is, to get started is I'll get some information from you to be able to provide you a claim number.
Sometimes when you're just knocked down so many times in a row, you start asking yourself, like, is it worth getting back up?
Starting route to Savannah.
After a week spent in the woods near Forsyth, I was ready for a change of scenery. So I thought I'd go back to a place I once knew well. I was curious to see what, if anything, had changed since I was last there years ago. Driving east on I-16 towards Savannah reminded me of the time my dad was taking me down this highway for what was supposed to be my first year of college. But more on that later. In those 3 hours from Forsyth to Savannah, I just wanted to throw it back.
Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody living young and wild and free. Can I make it any more obvious? You acting kinda shady, ain't calling me baby. It's killing me. I'm just being honest. It's okay. Feeling good.
I think one of the hardest parts to making weekly videos about van life while you're living van life, at least for me, is how challenging it can be at times to plan out a good quality video ahead of time. This video is unlike any video I have ever made before. This was supposed to be a van life vlog set in the city of Savannah. But it turns out that is not the video that was meant to be made this week. Now, I thought about not sharing these events. I am ahead on my videos at the moment, so I could have pretended like none of this ever happened, but I learned a lot from this past week, and I hope that by my sharing my experience, I can provide or give a fuller picture as to what van life actually is sometimes, which is not pretty. Not pretty. At this point in the story, I have no idea what is coming. I am feeling good as driving, singing Anna is just doing her thing. It was the start of my second week being back on the road, and for those of you who have been watching for a while now, the best way that I can describe how I was feeling was just this overwhelming sense like maybe, just maybe, I was finally coming out of that rough patch that I had been in all winter long.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to you. Ice, ice, baby. This is how we do it. The original rope shakers get down. Good Lord. I am for real. I wanna put on my boogie shoes. Oh yeah, life goes on.
That night, I ended up camping out at the back end of a Cracker Barrel parking lot just outside of Savannah. I left a little too late in the day, the sun had set fast, and I already knew it was going to be hit or miss on places to sleep in the area. But that's life when you live out of a van. Some days you're gonna wake up to the sounds of semis and street noise. But honestly, I'd take that any day of the week over what happened to me next. Good morning. It is a little after 6 a.m. I am currently parked in the Meineke Auto Repair parking lot. Yesterday, when I was rolling into Savannah, Georgia, my check engine light came on, and I took my van to Auto O'Reilly to get the code read, and I've never seen this code before. It's related to oil pressure. I'm like, that's really interesting because I just had work done on my engine because of an oil leak. I looked underneath my van. This is really not good. And there's just pools of oil. So I bought 4 quarts of oil at Auto O'Reilly and poured it into my van, checked underneath the van. It's just pretty much dripping out as fast as I'm pouring it in. It felt like. It is now Monday morning, and I just hope someone can help me. I just have this sneaky suspicion that something didn't go right with the repairs that I got done at the other Meineke up in Wisconsin, because to have my oil cooler replaced and the oil changed and the coolant and spark plugs, like just having had a full service that cost me $1,700, it's less than a month later, and if they tell me they can't help me here, I hope that I can get a tow truck to a different location and they can help me. Everything is so up in the air, so I do recognize that this isn't the end. I'm not in a dangerous life situation. My van is fine. I am fine. I'm not in an accident. I still have so many things to be grateful and thankful for. My life is incredibly, incredibly blessed. I feel very fortunate in many ways, but at the same time too, like, this is the last thing that I expected to happen. It's just been a lot. The thing that gets me through these hardships is just I can fast forward and know that at some point I will be back on the road again. Been through this before. I can do it again. But sometimes when you're just knocked down so many times in a row, you start asking yourself, like, is it worth getting back up? And it is. Let me just say that. It is. But it's exhausting. It's mentally and emotionally exhausting. But this is the reality, you know? I can't just pretend that everything is happy-go-lucky, because if I do ever inspire someone to get out on the road, like, this can happen. It is happening. You just gotta be careful. You gotta be smart. I've been watching lots of YouTube videos on oil cooler replacements and just trying to learn the ins and outs of my engine, so when I go in and speak to people, I can understand a little bit more what they're talking about. I'm gonna go make some coffee and I was gonna say stress out. I am stressed. I'm stressed out, but I'm gonna try and chill out.
I wish I could tell you that after I made my coffee and met with the mechanics that morning, then everything went smoothly, but that would be too easy. Life is not a movie with a happy ending after 2 hours and some odd minutes. What actually ended up happening was a week-long uphill battle where I was met with struggle after struggle. It took 2 days and 3 mechanics just to diagnose the problem. I discovered while camped out there that their shop was understaffed and mechanics showed up late to work every day. I was surrounded by chain smokers, vapors, the stench of oil, and exhaust fumes. That was my reality. I tried to write and edit and work on this video and cook my meals while my van sat dismantled for days. I slept 3 nights in the lot until I near ran out of water and food and clean clothes. Also, I really needed a shower. I was finally sent over the edge after one too many days of being called sweetheart and having words by Bruce Lee quoted at me. So I booked a hotel room. Cost me $200 plus tax for 2 nights and $40 on Uber rides to get to and from. At some point, I found myself asking, all of this because why? Turns out the mechanics up in Wisconsin didn't install my oil cooler correctly the first time, so this tiny 2-centimeter rubber O-ring never properly sealed in place. The universe certainly has a dark sense of humor sometimes, doesn't it? It's up for debate as to who said it first, whether it was Alan Saunders or John Lennon. But either way, they both once said, "Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans." I spent all week perseverating on the choices I had made that led me to this moment, to being stuck and stranded with a broken down van for 5 days, all alone, on my own, dealing with people I would have rather never met. I remember intentionally making the choice to get my van serviced when I was still in Wisconsin and not on the road, so this exact situation wouldn't happen. But no matter how hard or how many times I try to control the narrative and direction of my life, the reality is, I can't. All I can do is make the best decision based off the information I have at that present moment, and see what happens next. Isn't that all any of us can do?
This video has been one of the most challenging to make and edit. I'm not exactly sure if I'm doing it justice. Also, it's kind of hard to relive. I had to leave some details out for personal and privacy reasons, so I do apologize if the storyline is a little scrappy this week. But there are a few final details I just want to share with you from this experience. Hopefully I can help someone or maybe save someone from making similar mistakes that I had to learn the hard way. It turns out that the repair shop up in Wisconsin overcharged me $500, and the only reason that I caught it was because of this week's unfortunate events, and I had nothing but 5 days' time to stare at my receipt. I think that in today's world, everyone's job is so specialized that it's impossible to know everything. So something is always bound to slip through the cracks, you know what I mean? I personally don't really care that much about the mechanical side to cars. It just doesn't interest me that much. But I will say that it's absolutely on me if I don't take some time and energy to invest in knowing the ins and outs of my own vehicle so I don't get ripped off. So it looks like you guys accidentally overcharged me for 3.5 hours of labor on some work that I had done. I can provide you with the invoice number if you want to pull it up.
I have it. This is the one that you have down south that we were dealing with in Savannah.
On here, under the ticket, it says another 3.5 hours of labor for the oil cooler at $139 per hour for another $486. And so when Steve came back to speak with me, he went from saying that my total was $1,100 to over $1,600.
I see what you're talking about.
I did get my $500 plus tax back, by the way. Also, I maybe had the right idea to get my van repaired at a place that offered some sort of nationwide limited warranty. I don't have a go-to mechanic because I'm never in one place for very long. My mistake, though, was choosing a company that's more so known for basic oil changes, mufflers, brakes, that sort of thing. The work that I needed done was much more involved, as it turns out. I had to fight tooth and nail to get all of my repairs honored under warranty. There was a part that needed replacing down here in Savannah known as the plenum gasket, and if I hadn't done the research to know that it was part of the oil cooler kit that I had replaced up in Wisconsin, I would have been the fool who paid for it twice when I didn't have to. They tried to cheat me and get me to pay for it a second time, another $100, and I did not stand for it. They had told me that even though it is not listed in the receipt that I gave to you, the plenum gasket is part of the kit of the oil cooler replacement. And so I spoke to them and they're willing to relay that information over to you. So I just want to get that invoice changed because it is related to the work that I had already gotten done.
The new total is going to be $516.14. That's the two-part cost, the tax, and labor.
Knowledge is power. Lastly, whether I'm still making videos or not, I will always and forever from now on document
whatever vehicle I happened to be driving, both before and after any major mechanical work is done. Not all mechanics are equal, and unfortunately, there's a lot of room for dishonesty and shoddy work in this business, so take pictures, take video. I overheard one of the mechanics who was working on my van say that they dropped 2 screws in my intake. So I confronted the manager and the mechanic about it, and I recorded that conversation. And they both said that they were just joking.
And then I did overhear one of the mechanics yesterday say that they dropped a couple screws in my intake.
He was playing around. Let me bring him in here. Take a seat.
He was
always
playing,
and he likes to play with me.
So-
Go ahead, take a seat. Relax. Come here. Take a seat. Relax.
Yeah. I'm good. It's okay. Thank you, though.
And that's when I said, I don't care. You get the vacuum cleaner. It's a
Right.
joke between us. You've got her worried sick because you said that you dropped 2 screws down in that intake.
In my intake.
Can you please tell her that it's a running joke between you and I?
It's a joke. So
It's a
definitely
joke.
no screws in the intake. Okay.
My gut says it definitely wasn't a joke and that it definitely did happen, and they just said that to cover their own butts. But I didn't find the joke funny. I wasn't laughing. I hate conflict. I avoid confrontation like the plague normally, but being friendly and nice just wasn't working. I had to stand up and assert myself and defend myself, because having something lodged in your intake can mean serious trouble. It can absolutely ruin your vehicle. So I didn't particularly or specifically record that conversation for a YouTube video or something like that. I recorded the conversation for liability reasons, and I also notified my auto insurance agent of the situation. So in other words, what I'm saying is, keep your receipts. Keep your receipts. Because there could come a day where you drive your vehicle off the lot, you get a few blocks down the road and something goes amiss, but you will have proof to back yourself up. Now, being on the other side of this experience, I can't believe I'm saying this, but as much as I wish none of this would have happened, I think I'm actually a better person because of it. Weird as that may seem. Throughout this past week, my love for van life was tested. I started to doubt my ability to do this, to even want to do this. I worried that this past week and these people started to taint my van life experience, but it came around pretty quick, and I realized that I don't have to give away my power like that, especially to another person. And also, things like this could happen even if I didn't live out of a van. There is no such thing as a lifestyle that doesn't have its own challenges to overcome, you know what I mean? I started to get a pretty dark outlook on life and started to lose hope in humanity, kind of thing. But then a really wonderful good friend of mine shared this quote with me, and it goes like this: trust everybody, but cut the cards. Meaning, have a general faith in the good intentions of others, but never neglect to take the appropriate precautions against being cheated or deceived. Anyway, I can say I am a stronger person because of all of it. And that counts for something, right? This story has a happy ending. I do have my van back, and I'm just hanging around the area just a little bit longer, just in case something. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. Knock on wood for me, would ya? So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Did I just wink? Ew. I'm not gonna do it over again. I'm out. Here we go. This is turning into the Anna hotel life, not the Anna van life. Don't mess this up. Down. This is not the video I want to be making. Ow, that's hot. Anna without her van, yet again. Ugh. Tell a new story.
the hardest. Okay. Oh, she's going crazy. I'm trying to go for a messy bun look to hide the fact that my hair is ridiculously greasy right now. Did that make sense? I don't think my sentence made sense. Crap. In the end, it's just looking like a really messed up bee's nest up there. I was on a roll, and then I lost it. I lost it,